Hi villaging friends, and welcome back to my channel. With my Halloween display fully up and operational, I'm working towards my Christmas display that I'm calling Holiday Hills. I'm currently reworking accessories for it. Right now, I'd like to talk to you about the Department 56 Limestone lamps. I really like these. I've had them for a couple of seasons. The only problem I have with them is, in my opinion, these should be like a gas lamp style light. And they're static. So come join me as I reimagine these for my Holiday Hills Christmas display.
Let's take a look at a set of the Department 56 Limestone lamps. These were introduced in 2011 and as of 2025 have not been retired. Thanks to the Department 56 website, the figure dimensions are approximately 1.89 inches in height by 1.06 inches wide by 1.38 inches long. I really do enjoy these pieces. They're actually quite lovely and they give off a nice warm glow. I do wish they had chose maybe a little bit of a different topper for the limestone pillars, but that's okay. I've always envisioned these as gas lamps, so come join me as we remove those static LEDs and give a flickering flame effect. Let's get started. Here are my limestone lamps from Department 56. Now, looking across the bottom, this is going to be a very simple breakdown. It's just a lot of glue that has to come out of the way. Using my hook pick tool and a candle pillar holder and my hair dryer, I'm going to use high heat from the hair dryer, and I'm going to heat up this glue. Now, judging by the size of the channels for the wires, that was a pretty significant amount of glue in the bottom of each of these. So I'm going to get up close and personal with the hair dryer and make sure that that glue gets nice and soft before I even really try to pull any of it out. What I'm going to be looking for once it gets to that point is it's actually going to have a little bit of a sheen to it. And as you can see here, it's a little bit shiny, but it's still in there pretty good. Now this figure is pretty warm to the touch already. But okay, so the LED just came out quite easily on this one, but left a ton of glue residue behind. I'm going to use my hook pick tool to get this out, and I'm probably going to have to come back in with a Dremel, with a burr bit, and clean out that channel. Before I crack out the Dremel, I am going to use the hairdryer again to see if I can heat up that glue and get more of it out of that channel. As you can see right now, that glue is a semi-translucent, so this is a good state to work on getting the glue out. With that one done, I'll go ahead and move on to the next. It's going to be a rinse and repeat process. Now, this one is in the middle of the line, so there's going to be a little bit more wire, and the channel goes all the way through the base of the figure. So again, using my hair dryer in high heat and getting up close and personal with this limestone lamp, I'm going to heat this figure up significantly. The goal with any Department 56 piece that has a ton of glue on the bottom is to heat it up as much as you can and try to get as much of the internal components and glue out at the same time. Picking at this a little bit, it is actually pretty free on both sides. So what I have left is the LED going up into the column itself, and just wiggling this around, it comes right out. That actually came out pretty well, where all the glue and the components came together. Now I have the chore of getting the glue off the wire, which is again just using the hair dryer and more heat and my hook pick tool to hold it in place while I do it. I'll pick at it a little bit, but ultimately it needs to be warmed up. With the LEDs out of the limestone lamppost, I'm going to go ahead and take my Dremel tool and work on removing the excess glue that was left behind. Now I'm using a burr bit today on high speed, and I'm just going to go around the channel and catch any of the excess glue onto the burr bit. As I catch the glue, I want to make sure that I can clean the burr bit. The last thing you want to do is get a excess amount or a glob onto the end of the burr bit and then go into the lamppost itself. Doing this actually could cause the glue to release from the rubber bit and clog the lamp. Once I get all the excess glue removed, we'll move on to the next step of replacing the old LEDs. Before we begin, let's take a look at our LED information. Today I'll be using a 3mm yellow flickering LED that is 2 to 2.2 volts at 20 milliamps at 0.25 watts. Each lamp will have one LED. Now, let's calculate for resistance. Using the original 3-volt power source for a new 2-volt LED, that leaves 1 volt to account for. 1 volt divided by 0.02 amps is 50 ohms. I'll be using a 0.25 watt 68 ohm plus or minus 5% resistor for each limestone lamp. Let's get started. We'll be making these solder connections live today. I've already connected power, and when I was removing the glue I inadvertently broke this solder connection, but see, it still does work when I make the physical connection. Taking a look at this, the configuration is a little bit different than normal. The resistor is actually on the negative leg and not the positive leg. Anytime you're looking at a Department 56 piece, take a look at the wiring. You'll see one side of the wiring has dashes, either white or gray or black, just depending on the wire type. The side with the dashes is your positive. The solid side of the wire is negative. This has been a long-running standard from Department 56. Getting started, I'm going to take my resistor and wrap it around the positive leg. Then apply a small amount of flux and a dab of solder to make the connection. I'll trim off any of the excess LED and the excess lead on the resistor from where I did the wrapping. Then we can set that one aside. We'll go ahead and fabricate the next LED for the secondary lamppost. So again, just grabbing the positive, wrapping the resistor, a touch of flux, followed by a touch of solder. Trim off any of the excess, and just take a quick look and make sure everything is nice and secure. Now, moving on, I'm going to take a piece of heat shrink and slide it up over the resistor on the positive side. But using my lighter, I'm going to secure that in place. I'm going to do this for the other LED as well, so we can just go ahead and prepare it now, so we don't have to in the future. With these LEDs and their heat shrink applied, they're pretty much ready to go. So let's go ahead and clean up the old wire. I'm going to snip off the old LEDs and any old solder point connections. We're going to strip fresh wire for all connections made today. With our known positive being the dash side of the wire, I'm going to go ahead and connect this side of the circuit. Now I'm going to do a couple of dry fitment tests as well. I need to make sure I have a piece of heat shrink that is thick enough to cover both the jumper wire and the lead wire from the power source, as these are different gauges in wire. Twisting it together, go ahead, twist the LED, see how this is going to look. Because remember, I have to have added space to get the LED and electronics into the lamppost itself. Securing the resistor to this leg, checking the fitment, that should be perfectly fine for the spacing. Now I'm going to just take a little bit of flux and a little bit of solder and make this connection. With the connection made, I'm going to trim off any of the excess, slide the heat shrink up as far as I can, and then secure it with my lighter. Now it's time to do the negative side of the circuit. Trimming this off, I should be soldering at the very bottom of the LED, so I want to have an offset on my solder points. And the reason being is the column of the lamp only has but so much girth. If I have two thick solder connections that are side by side, it's possible that my LED might not make it through the top. Also, in conjunction with this, depending on how the wires are and the base, I may need to have a little bit of extra wire in order to make the LED reach to the top, as the cathode or negative side is going to be shorter than the positive side because the resistor is added length. After making this connection, I realized I made a mistake and I actually soldered those connections side by side. So I just used my helping hand to hold the LED, and I'm going to resolder it at a lower point. With this solder connection, because I didn't restrip the wires, the ends are already tinned, so this is a very quick and easy connection to make. Using a dab of flux and a drop of fresh solder, the connection is made. Now I can slide this heat shrink up and over our solder point, and I'll secure it in place with my lighter. Now, as for the last leg of this, the wires are not marked. and that's not going to matter. I'm going to strip back both of the wires, and we're just basically going to test our LED to check for continuity. And right out the gate, we got it. I'm going to take another piece of heat shrink and cut it into some smaller pieces. This will be used to cover our solder point connections once they're made. So, slide these on. And for the positive side, I'm going to be making the solder connection as close as possible to the resistor. A little bit of flux, a little dab of solder, and the connection's made. So again, it's just a rinse and repeat process. Trim off any of the excess, slide the heat shrink up, secure it in place, and I'll repeat this process for the other leg of the LED before we move on to modifying the lamppost for our new LED. I realized a problem with our new LEDs compared to the original LEDs that came in the limestone lamps. The new LEDs that I am using have a lip around the edge. This is going to prevent the LED from seating properly in the limestone lamps themselves. So in order to fix this, I'm going to have to Dremel up around the lamp from the inside, just to widen it oh so slightly, just so the LED can be high enough in the lamp to be effective. Another option or route that could have been done instead is to modify the LED by taking it and running the lip of the LED on a file to file it off. I chose to go this route instead. I want to see if I can actually modify these lamps without damaging them. While using my Dremel with these, there is glue on the inside of the lamppost that has gotten onto my burr bit. Now it is important, if you catch this, you want to get it off of your burr bit as soon as possible before proceeding any further. If you do not get the glue off of your Dremel bit or burr bit, it is possible for it to go up and into the base of the lamp itself, so the LED will not go in at all. And you either have to drill it out or work to get the lamp top, which is epoxy on to the limestone pillar, off and then clean it out from there. It can be quite a difficult chore. Testing the fitment of this LED, it is close, but it's not quite there. To fix this, I'm actually going to reseat my burr bit and my Dremel a little bit higher up and then check to see how it goes against the limestone lamp. So that should be plenty. Now the way that these limestone lamps are assembled is the lamp piece is just a plastic lamp with a black collar that goes into a column in the limestone lamp itself, or limestone pillar. It is epoxied in place, and I would like to avoid having to try to take that off at all possible. Using the burr bit on high speed, I'm going around in a circular motion, and I'm going back and forth between each of the lamps. I want to give them time to kind of cool off. I also noticed that pieces of resin were getting into the top of the lamp, and I don't want to compact those in, although it kind of would give it a fun diffused effect, but I'm actually going to use a toothpick to get that out. And as you can see, just working the toothpick around, tapping it on the table, everything comes out. Now checking our LED fitment, that's already much, much better. Now let's check the other column, and it is a little bit more stuck on that one. So I'm going to use the Dremel again, go back in, again a circular motion, and taking my time doing this. Might as well go ahead and do the other one more time for good measure while we're here, even though the LED fit pretty well in this. Can't hurt. Let's clean it out with the toothpick. You can kind of see the debris that's in the lamppost itself. It gives it kind of a frosted look in the center. Alright, that should be most of it. And now the LED fits without issue. So we can move on to reassembling the limestone lamps. While preparing to put the limestone lamps back together, I inadvertently knocked the lamp off of one of the limestone columns. So we're going to be putting that back on in a few moments, but I want to go ahead and show you how the LED is going to go through and fit on the bottom of the limestone lamp. Using a dab of low temp hot glue, I'll simply secure the lamp covering right back on over top of the LED. So should yours ever break off, it's a very easy fix. With the lamp light cover back in place, now it's time to address these wires. And what I'm going to be doing is just simply a folding and tucking of the wires into the channel. And once they're in a good enough spot, I'm going to take my low temp hot glue and surround the wires just as they originally were from Department 56. So here I'm filling it up, then I'm scraping it off, just letting it set. That one's done. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the next lamp. Now this one is going to be a little bit more challenging because there's more wires, but ultimately it's not that bad. I'll allow the glue to set up, and now we can move on to the final reveal. Let's take a quick look at the before, and now the after. Overall, I'm really happy with how these turned out. The one thing I wish I could change is the lamppost covers themselves, and maybe another day that will happen. So tell me, what did you think of this project? Let me know in the comments. What did you like? What did you not like? What would you have done differently? I would love to hear from you. If you like this video, like and subscribe for more. Happy holidays, and thank you for watching Department 56 Limestone Lamps Reimagined. If you like this video, like and subscribe for more, and check out my others.